dancing rabbit lady right in front of us?
No. There is no rabbit at the Mega Pizzaplex. Not anymore. I do not come up here anymore. I miss him.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Bon Jones, and in this series spanning 10 episodes, we have made it to the special episode. As never did I think, during my deep dive on Ruin, that I would solve one of the biggest mysteries of the new era of FNAF. So, for the first time, with a Jonesy seal of 100% proven, let me prove it to you who killed Glamock Bonnie. To uncover who decommissioned Bonnie, we need only to look at one area in the Pizzaplex, the secret room behind Ruin's Bonnie Bowl bowling alley. In this room, you'll find what remains of Glamock Bonnie, resting on a carpet and surrounded by wet floorboards, with the only addition to the scene in the AR world being a purple crater ring. Right away, the carpet, which is buckled and folded over in some corners and edges, tells us it was never tacked onto this room's floor, meaning that it, along with Bonnie, was moved here from his original site of death to conceal him in any evidence of the murder. Let's take a closer examination of Bonnie's two most prominent injuries. First, the upper left side of his face casing is shattered, exposing his inner endoskeleton where someone pulled some wiring out. While there are no casing fragments in the room, the shattered bowling ball implies this occurred here, or in Bonnie Bowl, as no other area features bowling balls. Lastly is his chest, where most of the damage out of his entire body is, and perhaps where the crippling blow was struck. 3 deep tears, like a slash from a swiping claw, start from the upper left shoulder and go down diagonally, stopping short of reaching the end of his torso casing. Additionally, it looks like his chest was pried open afterward. As many noted, there are noticeable green smudges over this injury, all from Bonnie's attacker, as green clashes with Bonnie's color scheme. Bonnie's lesser injuries include his missing top right ear, a shattered neck/metal collarbone casing, his inner elbows to the top of his biceps, and a shattered right knee casing. Other things of note include some smears, blemishes, and minor damage, such as the webs of cracks over his endo casing. Now, I highlighted Bonnie's state and injuries to keep them fresh in mind, and because the wounds and green smudges are exactly number 3 and 2 for important evidence for the identity of our Bonnie killer. In retrospect, it's easy to understand how everyone overlooked the number 1 clue in this room, as you can only recognize it by observing or knowing something unrelated to it, which, with my critical eye over the details of Ruin, is how I spotted this crucial piece of evidence when it came across my sight. So, without further ado, let's unveil the Rabbit Slayer. As the biggest, most incriminating evidence is right next to Bonnie's right hand. An arm. That's right, an arm. While you make a funny face thinking about who this could possibly belong to, I'll just cut right to the chase and tell you it's specifically the shoulder and upper arm piece of a staff bot. In fact, there are more pieces of staff bots around Bonnie, like this other upper arm part at Bonnie's feet and this lower part of the arm next to the wet floor bot. What's common among some parts is that they bear a green substance over the normally gray and black sheen of the staff bots, the same substance that appears as smudges on Bonnie's chest and stains on the carpet beneath him. As I discussed last episode, the Glamock's endo casings are made of colored material and not something painted over, meaning neither Monty, Roxy, nor any other animatronics in the Pizzaplex will leave such smudges after attacking something. And with the 3 tears across Bonnie's chest being fully achievable by 3 fingers, it becomes very clear that it's our often overlooked staff bots who brought down our long-missing Glamock band member. However, there are about 20 plus variants of the staff bot and security breach, and more if we include the unused ones. So which one did it? Funny enough, I found the answer to this because I vaguely recall there being staff bots in the sewer of security breach. So typing in security breach sewer in Google provided me with images of that area, along with a pair of 2 staff bots covered in green sludge, aptly named sewer bots. So let me properly introduce you all to Glamock Bonnie's killer, or more accurately, killers, the sewer bots, or as they're actually named in security breach files, the exterminator bots. Now, knowing that the exterminator bots are the ones who decommissioned Bonnie, there's still the question of where exactly did they originally put him down. For that, we're going to have to expand our perimeter, as the only lead we have in the secret room is the carpet that Bonnie and exterminator bot's parts are lying on. So leaving that room, but not necessarily Bonnie Bow, our next location happens to be right next to Bonnie's very own green room. Immediately, Bonnie's recharge station, which is damaged and broken, adds more details to the ongoing mystery, as it looks to have been forcibly pried into, as the sliding door is folding inward instead of outward like someone trying to get out. Yet, this isn't the location where Bonnie was killed. There is still scattered glass lingering on the ground from the warping of the door frame, meaning this wasn't where Bonnie and the carpet he's lying on were moved from to hide evidence. But it does tell us that it happened just before or after Bonnie's murder. That either there was something inside the recharge station that the bots, or a bot, were trying to get to, or that it was destroyed to force Bonnie to use a recharge station elsewhere. Moving on to Bonnie's green room, it initially appears unrelated to an investigation, aside from some puzzling elements in the AR world. Yet after entering the room, a glance to the right wall reveals a sky blue mechanics desk cluttered with dirty but typical staff bot parts. However, under closer inspection, you'll find that intermixed with these standard parts are a familiar exterminator bot parts, hiding in plain sight. With these parts, along with the ones surrounding Bonnie, it implies that there were numerous exterminator bots involved in Bonnie's decommissioning. Combined with Bonnie's wounds and injuries, it tells us that despite being defeated and hidden away in a secret room, Bonnie didn't go down without a long and fierce fight. So expanding the perimeter once again with that in mind, and using the cut up carpet to find a possible match with other carpets that can be found in security breach and ruin, I spent hours looking at the various carpets until finally, I found it. You see, Bonnie never returned to Bonnie Bow of his own free will. He was stopped dead in his tracks in a location I'm sure most aren't even familiar with, or will even recognize when I say its name. Roxy Party Garage. For those who don't recall this place, I don't blame you for it, as you will only know you were standing in there by the dialogue exchange between Cassie and the Mimic.
Cassie, can you hear me? I finally have a clear signal.
Gregory, I shut down all the security nodes. I'm in the Roxy Party Garage.
This is the site of death for one Glamock Bonnie, and without anyone even realizing it, Steel Wool, the sneaky and clever devs that they are, made us stand in the exact spot where the crime took place. Literally. Steel Wool made the game slow you down to play the Mimic's dialogue at the precise moment where you only need to look down to see that this room's carpet has a large rectangular blue tarp on the floor before the doors, which happens to be the general size of the move carpet. More than that, examining the room's carpet reveals that it's a 100% match to the cut carpet that Bonnie is laying on, as it has the exact fadedness, design, and dark stains that the other carpets are missing. But wait, there's more. Exiting this room and going through each room reveals a trail of bent chairs, torn staff bots, and a familiar green sludge trailing right to Roxy Party Garage, leaving no room for doubt This was indeed the place that the exterminator bots eventually took down and decommissioned Glamock Bonnie. With our killers in our sight of death, we need only one more thing: motivation. The staff bots, no matter the variant, have no significant will of their own, so guessing a possible motivation from them is a moot point. Nevertheless, there still is a will to be found, as staff bots follow orders. So in a way, the exterminator bots were just the murder weapons used by the true culprit behind Glamock Bonnie's murder. Now it's a question of who called pest control for their little rabbit problem. Vanny. We know from Security Breach that she has control over the staff bots, and as we see through Freddy's shattering, she only needs a button and a command for the staff bots to do her bidding. With a couple of words, Vanny would have had Bonnie disassembled by the exterminator bots and had staff bots drag him and the carpet into Bonnie Bowles' secret room after she cut it up to help remove any and all evidence of it, including hiding the broken parts of the exterminator bots in Bonnie's green room, and throwing off any suspicions of her possible involvement with his murder by leaving a false security report, as we see by the duffel bag message in Security Breach, to create an elaborate cover-up that disguises what actually happened. More than that, we know Vanny's room is close by, if not connected to Bonnie Bowl, by how he used the security mask to seemingly take a vent to her room in Fazablast, meaning she could have been discreet and unseen while moving back and forth between the two locations, and as a motive to get whatever she needed from Bonnie's recharge station or from him, as noted by the pool wiring on Bonnie's head. So, with all the evidence presented, the killer of Glamock Bonnie is none other than Vanny. At least, that's what you're expecting me to say, right? Well, let me say that's not the case. Once you step back and see the full picture, you'll realize that Vanny, and any potential motivation she might have, is not the piece to complete the puzzle. While Vanny was involved and hid the parts of the exterminator bots who attacked and put down Bonnie in Roxy Party's garage, this event happened after Security Breach. Yes, you heard me right. If you didn't know or remember, we actually visited Roxy Party Garage in Security Breach to get a dance pass, or optionally, get the Freddy battery upgrade or Princess Quest 2 maintenance log message. Looking around here reveals that there isn't any green sludge trail, broken staff bots, or a missing piece of the carpet yet, indicators of Bonnie's last fight. This means that Bonnie hasn't been set to be decommissioned by the exterminator bots yet, meaning Glamock Bonnie was still alive at the time of Security Breach. Oh, I'm sure I got your attention now, so let's direct it to something very important to help uncover the truth. That duffel bag message I mentioned earlier, while not falsified, has been tampered with, as there are huge gaps in time where Bonnie wasn't captured by security cameras, despite those locations mentioned and the areas next to them being well monitored. But the key detail here is the title of the message, Missing, which means that this is a missing person or animatronic report from the Pizzaplex security team for when Bonnie went missing, with no one knowing where he went. What about the management report message talking about Bonnie being out of commission? Doesn't that imply that Fazbear Entertainment knew of Bonnie's whereabouts and that he was destroyed? Well, it's important to know that out of commission could also mean unavailable for use. With Bonnie missing, he can't perform as a bass player for the glam rock band, leading management to make a snap decision to make Monty the new bass player, and hoping he can be popular enough to overshadow the missing Bonnie. And any questions anyone would have about why Bonnie is getting replaced. This leads to another duffel bag message about Bonnie, which, once again, is about management making decisions concerning him. Only this time it reveals more than it lets on. Despite their attempts to remove Bonnie-related things in Bonnie Bowl, With future plans and even retheming it to remove the Bonnie from Bonnie Bowl, kids are still asking about him, with which management has no response to that question. Something that we can verify in Ruin with the description of the AR Glam Bonnie plush, as Cassie herself asks her dad, a Fazbear technician, about Bonnie and gets no response. This reveals that from the employees to even the upper management of Fazbear Entertainment, no one has an official response to a question that should have had an answer prepared when it was decided to not just replace Glamock Bonnie in the band, but to begin actively removing any hint of its existence in the Pizzaplex. A decision in itself that is odd. As I established last episode, Fazbear Entertainment can and is willing to replace any flawed Glamrocks with another model of them. Because this isn't some side attraction like Foxy Log Ride. This is a face in the franchise, an established core member of the Glamrock band, complete with its own attraction. So any decision to remove something like that would have been carefully considered and provided with a basic official response prepared to explain the reasoning behind the removal. All meaning that there is someone with influence at the top of Fazbear Entertainment with the power of making sweeping decisions with a no questions asked policy when they decided no more Bonnies. Someone who isn't Edwin Murray or Mr. Burroughs, as Bonnie was still around when they were alive and board members in Fazbear Entertainment, but decided to remove Bonnie after those two were dead. Someone who gave the orders to the exterminator bots to attack Glamrock Bonnie in Roxy Party Garage. As while it's true that Vanny has control over the staff bots, we've only seen her use the button to control them and attack something in Fazerblast, and nowhere else. Not to say she can't use the staff bots anywhere else, or help clean up the aftermath. As someone wasn't just satisfied with shattering Bonnie physically, but had shattered him visually as well, as the AR Bonnie Pinata displays the same two significant wounds as the real Glamrock Bonnie does, when no other AR collectible character does that. So who is it? Who's the true culprit behind Bonnie's murder? Where has Bonnie been this entire time before Ruin? Why, the murder weapons themselves answer this. There is only one place you can find the exterminators / sewer bots throughout Security Breach and Ruin, as despite its other name, you won't find them anywhere in the Pizzaplex sewers. No, you'll find them further down below, in the sinkhole, right outside the entrance of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Place. Burn traps, glitch traps, domain. Just as Ruin revealed to us, the sinkhole and the restaurant down there are a lot bigger than we all thought, with possibly more areas we haven't seen yet. And with that place unknown to the greater public and undisclosed to most Pizzaplex employees, it's a perfect lair for those with dark intentions and a prison to keep those against their will. But I'm sure you're all wondering, what's Glitchtrap's motivation behind all of this? Why Bonnie? Why imprison him for so long or even shatter him? What's the deal with Bonnie and the wet floor bots? Unfortunately, I can't 100% prove to you my answers to those questions, but you'll see next episode that I do at least have some valid answers, as I still haven't discussed the connection between Bonnie and Monty.